Well, hello everybody. Um, I just was on the YouTube and spot that I heard that a walk away movement and about the Russian bot. So here's from Russian bot. Here's a video from Russian bot. Well, I am Russian. You can tell. I'm always want to have a drink after work. That's what all Russians do. Well, I never walked into a movement, but I see a lot of people telling this about the same story that they actually never walked in, but how they want to still walk out and stay away from that thing. Um, I mentioned average videos between the 5 minutes and 10 minutes. That's normal, but some of them goes 30. I don't know how much mine go because I kind of have a. But I give you a heads up what I want to talk about first and see if you're interested. I don't know how it's gonna be at 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We'll see. But as a couple subjects I wanna but the first thing I want to mention is that I just love how Donald Trump destroyed their mentality, like that, the media and the liberals, how he destroyed their mentality because they they try to think of one thing, and he totally doing like what they think they're gonna be doing, but he totally destroyed their mentality. They going nuts. But the briefing, yeah, I put the note in there as a briefing. It's who I am. I was born in the Soviet Union, and I'm American now. I don't want to call myself a Soviet American or Russian American because I was born in the Russian territory, well, actually Ukrainian territory on the Soviet Union, really next to the Russian border these days. And 3 years later, it collapsed. So I want to call myself American because I spent over $1,000 to get myself citizenship because I got a green card, which I could live with this thing all my life in here. But I choose to spend some money because I respect the country. Yeah, a lot of things here are different, but you respect the country, then you have to become a citizen. So I'm calling myself American, not the Soviet American. That's why later on I'm gonna refer black, brown Americans, not African Americans, because they really have nothing to do with Africa. Their ancestors was, but people who was born here, they're Americans. Like black Americans, brown Americans. I don't see why you keep calling them African Americans. Well, sorry if I'm only trying to do it for good because I heard Morgan Freeman said that. It's like I'm American. I don't want to be called African American, but it's I'm just trying to do it in a good way. I think that's my point. Is just have nothing to do with that. Now I'll give you a little bit of my background, where I came from, and when I came here. It was 2004. It was a Bush in there, and I'll speak about a little bit about Obama and of course Trump. Uh, and then oh, I want to talk about abortion. How the Democratic Party totally losing that point about the abortion. And I just said that, but I will talk about a little bit more how Trump destroys. And I mentioned a lot of videos on the walk away. And I said there was a lot of black, brown Americans who really did a concern about that socialism, and other people did about socialism and the capitalism that say it didn't work. A little bit of the subject, but I want to bring it up. I'm not for socialism and communism, even though I was born in a communist country, but it's a different point on that. If you bear with me, you will hear that. If not, not. All right, I did my briefing, and I did my subject, so let's do it with my background. I was born in '88. I was Soviet Union back then. Uh, Same thing. Just a mom and 3 kids, and she worked at railroad, worked hard. Left. I was little. Left me at home with no babysitter, so I was just playing around. One time I messed up the stereo because I poured some cologne on it. Got my ass whipped. Learned my lesson. Never done it again. And and so on, so on. So I understand her. She always wanted to get away from there because the pay wasn't good. She had to work long hours. And she proceeded the Green Card Lottery, also known as Diversity Program, Lottery. She was keep filling it up, and 5 years later, she got lucky. She won it. And those kids under 18 years old, which is I was at that time, 16. My brother was 18, and we all made it here. First got placed in the project, yeah, real quick, but you know, for 6 months, saved those cash advance money for 6 months. We were in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania. Moved to Philly. 2 days later, I had the job. Despite my English wasn't even that great, but got a job and move on, move on. So what I'm saying is I'll never been into politics, but the girl that met us here, mom knew her from somewhere, whatever. She'd been living here already for a while. So she hosted us there for a minute in her house for a couple of days till we got the rental, because we had some money saved from just a little bit. But we were sitting there in a Chinese restaurant, and it was a TV, and it was a bush. And that girl, she'd been here already for a while. She's like, man, that president, he I'm sorry, the camera is kind of low, so I'm kind of looking up straight, but I mean to, but. And she was like, that president can't even speak proper English, you know. And I was like, wow, okay, you know, whatever. I look like country doing good, you know. Well, I didn't know that time. When it was about to Obama to get elected, when he was running off, I was already working for the warehouse, and the boss, he was Russian Jewish. He was a Jew from Russia, and he started out unloading railroad cars, and he messed up his back. Well, by now I'm pretty sure he's about making about 20 millions a year. And back then he was already, I think numbers was already about 10 millions for three of them, because it was three owners, three partners. And he told me, like, try to use equipment, don't mess up your back, because he said I did mess my back. And when he heard that Obama got nomination from the Democratic Party, he went nuts. Not because he didn't like, because, you know, because he was Democrat. And I heard him saying to somebody, he's like, man, now a lot of people gonna be sitting at the house smoking drugs on my taxpayer money. Well, I didn't pay much attention to it. I'm like, Obama, I mean, first black president. I'm like, I didn't vote. I wasn't registered. And like I said, I wasn't into the politics anyway. But I can tell you the one thing, he was better than McCain. Because now turned out what? And I was right back then. Because McCain looked like that he would nuke somebody definitely. Because he was in a cage for 11 years, and God knows what they did to him. So can you imagine how much revenge he wanted for that place? So I was actually happy that Obama got elected. I didn't vote because I wasn't registered, I wasn't bothered. But I was actually lucky to see Obama elected instead of McCain. But I didn't really follow that much. Well, anyway, Romney, never fell for that dude either, you know. Then Trump, that's what interesting part comes in. It's 2015. I didn't see that moment on his elevator, him coming down the elevator. I didn't see that part in the real time or whatever. And then I start seeing on the Facebook, there's a car and bunch of hay on top of it, and it says it looked like Donald Trump rolling down the road. And I asked my girlfriend, she's American, she was born here, she's American Indian, well, Indian and American, whatever. I think what it was, Cherokee or I forgot what it was, but well, anyway, speaking of, we are all illegal except for them. So and I'm like, who's the guy is? Well, because I never followed that celebrity stuff and all stuff like that. And at that moment, I think she kind of forgot. She probably heard of him, but she's like, I think that's the dude who had that Playboy magazine. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like, I found the one video with him, like, you know, talking something. And it was that moment when it was still like 17 people in there for the running for the Republican nomination. And no lie, I look at her and I told her, he's gonna be a Republican nominee, and I'm really positive he's gonna end up being president. Not even know nothing about it. Later I found out he was a real estate development, and funny thing, I was going to Atlantic City because I used to live in Philly, now in Georgia, And I seen that Trump hotel, but I didn't even know who the hell Trump was. But I, in that same moment, I kind of had the confidence in the dude. I don't know, just listen how he talk. Just listen how he talk. I had it once because I was in 2009. I was in Ukraine, and it was the Yanukovych was running for president, and he won, and he built the infrastructure. He did it, and then they did the government coup, and he had to run for his life, and now 4 years of destruction and civil war. But I voted for Yanukovych and he won, and I'm like, well, let me vote second time since I can as a citizen. Let me see something. But what was funny when they first was going on about the it was still the process for the nominee, and little office opened up here in the town for the Trump campaign. So we went there to get some shorts and some signs, some pins, and stuff like that. And we got a couple signs. There's like, well, can you go like downtown, walk around with them, promote? And we start walking, and I'm really started seeing a lot of Black Americans making comments like, "Are you idiot? You guys crazy, right?" And I'm like, what the hell is wrong? I'm like, why would we get in that reaction? And then there was actually two black dudes was walking, two Black Americans was walking down the street, and one of them's like, no Trump. And another one, and there was a car already passing by, and I could hear the girl. She was yelling out of her lungs, something. I couldn't catch it because my accent maybe or whatever. Or, my English. And the other Black American, like, turned around and started yelling back at her. He's like, I will vote for Trump. I will vote for Trump. That was like kind of amazing scene. You have to understand it happened so kind of funny quickly. That was just amazing thing. It was a hell of an experience. And then of course I started chipping in. So I would say I actually woke in, because I never been a Democrat or Republican. I never even been really interested in politics. But the Trump experience, that's what it show you. You start seeing all these things, like they're gonna lock you up, they're gonna put you on a ship and send you to Africa, and in the meanwhile, when you're in the middle of the ocean, they actually gonna put the submarine there and torpedo that shit or something, that ship, and something like that. Which is, excuse my language, fucking ridiculous. They even, come on. We elected Black president twice, Obama. Now, like one time Putin said, he was trying to do some things, but I guess he was too tight in politics, like lobbyists and shit. I guess they didn't let him. Or maybe he didn't really want it. I don't know what's the truth there. I don't want to put him down. But we know the result. 8 years later, not much happened. So, I don't know if it's his fault or not. Maybe some people didn't let him do what he wanted to do. But apparently Trump really doing what he promised to do. So I want to chip in and not walk away movement. I never walked in, and the other side never. Then when I started actually looking at things, I realized the Democrats, they were saying like, Donald Trump gonna be end of the Republican Party. Well, he would lose probably, but funny part is he won. So it's actually more look like it's an end of the Democrat Party now. But I didn't really want to say that before because I didn't want to give them idea, but they're already destroying themselves. So, especially those Black Americans, check that one out. About the abortion. Well, when it was the Roe versus Wade, what it was, 76 or 73? I believe it was 76. Damn, when I was in Ukraine, I knew about American history more than some people here does, but it's been a while, so I forgot. So what happened is, right, they passed a law, they allow abortion. So since then, 16 million Black Americans been aborted. So if Democrats would actually really use their brain and not being so against you Black Americans, they would have, well, you never know, because some, things happen. Somebody got felony and not able to vote. Some people die. So we take that 16 million of possibly Black Americans being on the planet right now, kind of like just divided by half. 8 millions democratic vote they could have possibly had. Because I know not every black person, black American is a Democrat, but everybody admitted in those videos that majorities are. So think about it. You would have a Hillary now, probably, if the Democrats would be thinking with their heads a little bit. I was so inspired and see that a lot of black Americans actually do that walk away movement. Is finally waking up to the lies they've been told, to all these. Let's see what it is. 15 minutes now. Yeah, I think. But I don't have that much of them. Maybe it ain't gonna be that long. But as I was thinking. And again, well, I already said that in the beginning, but it's really nice how Trump destroyed their mentality. They expected him to do something, and he will do exactly the same thing. But then it's backlash from them because he already. I think what happened is, I think he was thinking about it in a long, long time, and he was planning to run to not to lose. He already was planning, and look how it happened. Hillary was almost get Obama on the nomination, but he probably promised her, hey, I have more chance because I'm gonna have a lot of black people vote for me, black Americans vote for me. But I'll get you a good thing, and I'll set you up for future, I'll make sure you're gonna get nomination no matter what, and after my 2 terms or 1 term, whatever. I'll make sure I get you a nomination. So it was total. So Trump probably, I'm pretty sure he knew about it. And he already knew all these world leaders. He already knew how it works, but he worked it as a businessman. He already know this. Like, Japan is not your allies. How the hell they can be your allies? Excuse my language again, the motherfucker twice. You twice nuked the motherfuckers. How the fuck you expect them to be your allies? They pretended allies because you send them the money. But soon some serious shit happened. It's like it's about 1.5 billion Chicans out there. Do they really want to be next to you? You know what the Chicans did to them before? They were fucking slaughtering them. they rather take Chicans side. At least they, well, I don't mean to, but they are kind of a same ethnic group, They rather take their side. So after you nuke them twice, I don't think they're gonna be real allies if some real bullshit start happening. But that's my opinion. I'm not sure about that, but so he already knows who's who. So all this trade war, look, yeah, he fulfillment every promise he made. The only thing you got from the Democrats, obstruction, nothing else but that. Well, and I also heard a lot of, that's might probably be a last point. I heard a lot of people commenting on how the Democrats want to do the capital, communist, socialistic, like Bernie Sanders was running on the socialism and the communism, and they all saying it's not working. Look at every country, it's not working. True, except for one period in the history, which was from, man, I already forget. I guess it's been a while since I was out of school. Which is why Lenin died 29. Well, Stalin, I think, came out in early 30s and died 1953. And we in World War II, and Americans like to say, and I'm not gonna go there. Never mind. So, the Soviet Union had the biggest losses, 26 million people in World War II. After that, he brought the country from out of nowhere, out of the shithole, like Trump wants to say. And it's the first time and only time in the history that prices was dropping instead of rising. Capitalism, communism and socialism does work, but you need to have a right person to do it. And you know how they all saying that Stalin killed so many people and like he was such a horrible person and dictator. Well, here's a comparison to you. Think about that. Trump said he want to drain the swamp. Well, he doing it in a modernized way. Stalin, in his own words, if you know the history, which is not many know that fact, his famous phrase was, when you cut in the wood, when you cut in the woods, you know, you have the woods to clear up, cut in the wood, using the axe or St. Charles, whatever, well, Charles and whatever, you know what I'm saying. Cut in the woods. The wood chips are flying around. So when you hit the axe on a tree, the wood chips coming out. Those wood chips, by those, he meant all these people he sent them to Gulag and Siberia and all that, who was a treasoner, who was a... I know a lot of them was innocent, but there was no time to investigate every single piece. They just got caught on something, that's it, you guilty. Yeah, I understand, but it did work. So it's never no easy way to clean up the corrupt system. But as soon as he was gone, that's it. That went. So communism really only existed for that 20 some years, what it was. But it was existed. He could handle it, and that's why people keep saying it's never gonna work out unless you revive him, unless you clone him and bring him back. Then it's gonna work. But I'm solidarity with the other people with saying Bernie would never build a real communism. There was no real communism but Stalin time, and in that case, it was. It was free apartments, it was free educations, and later on by Brezhnev, he did that a little bit too, but he didn't imprison anybody, but he giving them free apartments, free education, free Medicare. Yeah, maybe it wasn't that much meat on the shelf, but it was still enough, you know, I guess. But that's pretty much, yeah, it's getting 21 minutes now. But that's what I'm saying. The walkaway movement is a really beautiful thing. I'm really happy to see a lot of people awakening. Like I said, I was really enjoying everything that Trump doing, not just economically, you know, that how he driving us the other side. That they just losing. They would never believe that kind of thing can happen to them. They think they already had it right there, and they did not. And they just going nuts. They're losing it. And that, I mean, that was really enjoyable. 2.5, 3 years, like close to that, since he said he's running for it. And it was, remember that was that funny part when they're like, well, raise a hand if you're gonna, you know, endorse whoever win the Republican nomination. You promise to endorse. All of them raised their hand but Trump. He's like, no, I don't know if I'm gonna endorse him. I think first of all he already knew he gonna get it, and so he can't endorse himself real much. But I think he knew that none of these idiots gonna keep the promise, and none of them did. I think a few of them did, but eventually after the backlash. But well, yo, here's my story. Now I walk away, but walked into the Republican, and a lot of, I want to mention, I don't believe every Republican. A lot of them is just a swamp. It's a really Trump phenomenon. Trump is just unique. He just really wanted for all Americans to do good. I don't think he care about the race, where you're from, or I think he want all America. I think he watched it for too long, like he was doing an interview 30 years ago. He was saying back then, I seen that country being ripped off for too long. So that's all he's trying to fix. For all of you. It doesn't matter who you are. He want to fix it for all of you. But like they were saying in those other videos I watched, peace. And yo, go MAGA 2020, jump on the Trump train. That's the right thing to do. And wish he would get like Putin, man, so he can walk out the door and climb back in the window. That would be nice. That country would prosper for the next 16 years or so. I'll tell you that. Alright, y'all have a good one.